वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणं सावधूतं सावधूतं परिणमामि कृष्ण श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादां सहगणा श्रीविजयां नमो कृष्ण पादाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी आशासितारे कृष्ण कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते भूतेश गोपिका Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. So welcome all devotees for the Bhakti Shastra course. So now we will continue from chapter 16 to chapter 18. So till now, chapter 15 is covered for all of you. So now I will continue from chapter 16. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So in chapter 15, Krishna speaks about the banyan tree, how the material existence is like this. The screen is visible to all of you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So in the chapter 15, Krishna talks about the banyan tree, upside banyan tree, that how the material world is a perverted reflection of spiritual reality. And now the chapter 16 is also known as a Devasur Sampat Vibhag Yoga, or the divine and demonic natures. So Deva Asur. Deva means the divine people, Asura means the demonic people, and Sampad means what they consider as their wealth. Vibhag, the division, yoga, chapter. So those who are demonic in nature, they consider demonic qualities as their wealth, and then that becomes their secondary nature. And those who are divine, they consider the divine qualities as their wealth, and that becomes their second nature. So in the chapter 15, when Krishna talks about this upside down banyan tree, so he speaks about what nourishes this tree. So the three modes of material nature, they nourishes this tree. And in chapter 14 also, Krishna elaborately speaks about the three modes of material nature. Then, what are the fruits of this tree? So as per Srila Vishwanath Thakur, in chapter 16, Krishna talks about the fruits of this tree. The Lord in the chapter describes the fruits of the tree, which are of two varieties, those which cause liberation and those which cause bondage. So these fruits are explained in chapter number 16. This is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says. Whereas we see Srila Prabhupada, he quotes from Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan commentary. And Srila Prabhupada, he says that how in this chapter, so he's saying in the 15th chapter, Krishna talks about the banyan tree. And then there are extra roots also coming out of this banyan tree. And they are compared to the activities of the living entities. So in this chapter, Krishna talks about that which are the living entities which are on the upper part of this banyan tree, Which are the living entities which are on the lower part of this banyan tree? Which are the living entities which by association of mode of goodness have developed divine natures? Which are the living entities which by the association of mode of passion and ignorance have developed demonic qualities? So this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying that Krishna describes in this particular chapter, that is chapter number 16. So in essence, uh, by association of modes, how the living entities they develop divine and demonic nature, that is being explained. And divine natures, they are liberating, whereas the demonic natures, they are degrading and entangling in nature. So now, initially, in this particular chapter, Krishna will talk about the divine qualities. So this is a breakup of this chapter. So from text number 1 to 9, Krishna will talk about divine and demonic qualities. Text number 10 to 18, Krishna will talk about activities of demonic. In text number 19 to 22, Krishna talks about the consequence and the causes of demonic activities. Text number 23 to 24, Krishna talks about the choice between divine and demonic. So this is the division of this entire chapter, which Krishna explains. So now in the text number 1, 2, 3, Krishna is talking about the divine qualities. Sri Bhagavan Uvac Abhayam Sattva Samshodhi Jnana Yoga Stuti Nanam Dhamacchaya Yacha Swadhyayastap Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodhas Tyagha Santir Apeshunam Naya Bhutesu Yotvam Martavam Hrir Achapalam Teja Samadhiti Shaucham Adrohanati Manitam Bhavanti Sampadam Devim Abhijatasya Bharata. So this is Srila Prabhupada translation. Prabhupada is translating fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, posterity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanness, freedom from envy, and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly man endowed with divine nature. So these are total 26 qualities which Krishna is talking here to Arjuna. So as such, in general, all godly men should have these 26 qualities. But some qualities are particular more to particular ashram or to particular varna. But in general, a godly person has all these qualities. So our acharyas and even Srila Prabhupada, he explains that how these qualities, especially they relate more to a particular ashram, a particular varna. And anyone in a particular ashram or varna, specifically he should see that those particular qualities he is trying to cultivate to make progress in the particular ashram and to properly perform in a particular varna. Now we'll discuss these 26 qualities which are mentioned. So out of these 26, first, these qualities, Acharya is saying that first Krishna is talking about the qualities of sannyasi. So the first three, the qualities which are mentioned, these are the qualities which relate more to a sannyasi. So the first quality is abhayam. Abhayam means fearlessness. So Srila Ramanujacharya, he says, fear is defined as anxiety that arises from the perception of suffering in the form of separation from cherished things or association with adverse objects. So what is fear? Always there is a fear that I should not lose something which I love, which I like. Or there is a fear always that I should not get something which I don't like. I should not meet something which is not good as per me. So because of these two aspects, there is always a fear, there is always an anxiety. And Srila Madhvacharya, he says this abhayam, it can come only by having faith in the Vishnu's protection. So Srila Prabhupada also describes in the similar way that this quality of fearlessness is the first quality for a sannyasi. Srila Prabhupada is saying for a sannyasi, the first qualification should be fearlessness. Because a sannyasi has to be alone, he has to simply depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See, one thing is we may find some people that they are fearless because of ignorance, or they are fearless on a material platform, like we may see somebody who is a nationalistic feeling, and he may be fearless, he may not mind giving up his own body for the service of the nation. But that fearlessness is not highest. Highest fearlessness comes by depending upon the Supreme Lord, by developing this faith that how he is the real protector. So actually a pure devotee of the Lord is fearless. Seemingly we may find some people for some time they may exhibit this quality of fearlessness because of some mundane cause or mundane reason. But having this quality in a real sense and for all time, it can happen only in case of pure devotee. See, no one can be example better than Prahlad Maharaj. We see that no matter what way his father tried him to kill him. But we don't see Prahlad Maharaj having any doubt or having any fear in any situation. So we see that when a devotee of the Lord, he depends on the protection of the Supreme Lord, when he depends on the mercy of the Supreme Lord, then he develops fearlessness. A pure devotee knows that whatever I need, Krishna knows and Krishna will take care. And whatever way Krishna wants me to go through, I will go through. And Krishna is my real well-wisher. Srila Prabhupada says that if someone wants to be in this renounced order, then he should have this quality of abhayam, fearlessness. He knows that I am never alone. Even in the darkest region of forest, Krishna is there with me. That is the quality of abhayam, fearlessness. So Srila Prabhupada is saying this state of mind is necessary for a person in the renounced order of life. So this is the first quality which is explained. So the first three qualities, as I mentioned, they talk more about a sannyasi. Especially sannyasi should have these three qualities. In general, everyone should have, but especially a sannyasi should have these three qualities. So first one was abhayam. Second is sattva samsuddhi. Sattva samsuddhi means purification of one's existence. So now Srila Ramanujacharya defines this. Sattva samsuddhi means purity of mind. Mind which is situated in goodness and is not affected by rajas and tamas. And Srila Bhakti Vidya Bhushan, he says Sattva samsuddhi means purity of mind by the performance of duties of one's ashram and varna. So by sticking to the duties in one's ashram and varna, one develops the purity of mind. That is what is being mentioned here as Sattva Samsuddhi. And Srila Vishwanath Thakur says Sattva Samsuddhi means purity of consciousness. So these are three definitions which Acharyas they give. Now we see in case of Srila Prabhupada, he mainly takes this word Sattva Samsuddhi as the purity of one's existence or purity of one's consciousness, and mainly he relates with avoiding opposite sex. So he's saying a sannyasi, especially, he is forbidden to have intimate relationship with a woman. He cannot talk to a woman in a secluded place. And then he's saying that how Lord Chaitanya, he had set a very exemplary example which comes in the story of Chota Haridas, that how a sannyasi should be very away from a woman. But this does not mean that a sannyasi will have a hatred for a woman. But then it is mentioned in the scriptures that a sannyasi should not have close connections with women. One has to follow the rules and regulation of particular status of life. Like suppose somebody is a sannyasi, then he has to follow the rules and regulations pertaining to sannyasi ashram. And a sannyasi should not have intimate relationship with women and should not possess wealth for sense gratification. And then he's saying this ideal example was Chota Haridas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exemplified through the example of Chota Haridas. That he just got a momentary thought, and that also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became so angry with. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, for a sannyasi or anyone who aspires to get out of classes of material nature and trying to elevate himself to the spiritual nature, go back to Godhead, looking towards material possessions and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking also with such a propensity, is so condemned that he had better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desires. We see what level of standard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is establishing. He's saying anyone, not only a sannyasi, anyone who wants to go back to Godhead, then looking at material possession and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying, but having a desire or having a look to enjoy them, then that is so much condemned, then better such a person commits a suicide before experiencing such illicit desires. So, especially Sattva Samsuddhi Prabhupada says for a sannyasi is that he has to be very clean in his character. He has to be very away from women. In our Gurukul training in the Vedic time also, the brahmacharis were trained to not have eye contact with the woman. Why not to have eye contact with the woman? Because there is a natural propensity when somebody has a male body and he is not above the three modes of material nature. Then when one has a male body and when he looks eye to a woman having a female body, then naturally this propensity to enjoy comes. Naturally the desire to enjoy comes. So that is why in the Gurukul time this training was given that a brahmachari should not have eye to eye contact. It is mentioned in the scriptures that a brahmachari should look at the feet of a woman and should treat them as matatis. And we see ideal example of Lakshman. He never looked at other parts of Mother Sita. He always looked at only the lotus feet of Mother Sita. So that is the standard. But nowadays we see, like one devotee was giving a seminar in Mayapur, and he was looking only at Prabhus. He was not looking towards Matadis. And they are devotee Matadis, they know the scriptures. But then one Mataji took a mic and she said, you are just neglecting us. Because modern culture is that if you want to talk, then you have to have a eye to eye contact. Otherwise, people feel neglected. And there is a culture of equality among men and women. So then it becomes a challenge. But then still we have to try. So what we do when we give seminar where men and women both are sitting, we look at men, but when we look at women, we try to look at their hairs. We try to look at their top part, so that they get a feeling that we are looking towards them. At the same time, we are not trying to look at their eyes also. So this is the most important aspect of Sattva Samasuddhi, that is not having intimate connection or any connection with women. Right. This is the second quality which is mentioned here, and especially it is very important for a sannyasi. Then third is Jnana Yoga Vivastitaha. So these three, first one was Abhayam, then Sattva Samsuddhi, and third one is Jnana Yoga Vivastitaha. All these three qualities are very important in general for all, but especially for sannyasi. So Jnana Yoga Vivastitaha means Srila Prabhupada translates Jnana Yoga Vivastitaha means the cultivation of knowledge. And Srila Ramanujacharya, he translates very beautiful. He says consistent contemplation on wisdom. steady persistence in discriminating between the true nature of the self and of the Prakriti. So he's saying that this is Jnana Yoga Vivasthitam, situating oneself in knowledge. That is one meaning of Jnana Yoga Vivasthitam. So Srila Ramanujacharya is saying, Jnana Yoga Vivasthitam means a sannyasi is always contemplating and on the wisdom. And what wisdom? About the true nature of the self and about the nature of the bhakti. Like this. And it is very important for a sannyasi to be established in knowledge, Jnana Yoga Vivasthitam. And Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan, he says, he is fully knowledgeable of the methods of attaining Jnana, such as hearing. So Baldev Vidya Bhushan, he says that he knows that what way one can have knowledge. That is the process of hearing. That is the meaning of Jnana Yoga Vivasthitam. And Srila Madhvacharya, he says, engaging in the path of knowledge in conjunction with bhakti is Jnana Yoga Vivasthitam. That engaging in the path of knowledge, which is under the purview of devotional service, which is for the purpose of devotional service, that is Jnana Yoga Vivasthitam. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, Jnana Yoga Vivasthitam means being completely familiar with the method of attaining jnana. For example, lack of pride mentioned in the chapter 30. So we see Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan is saying, knowing how to get jnana, knowing the process to get jnana, that is the process of hearing. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, knowing how to have jnana, and that is be free from this quality of pride. Because to have a knowledge, humility is very important. Vidya Vinay Sampanne. The knowledge can come in the heart of a person who is having a humility. So that is mentioned here. Now we see in case of Srila Prabhupada, he is saying Jnana Yoga Vivastita. He is saying a sannyasi should be engaged in the cultivation of knowledge and distribution of this knowledge to householders. So sannyasi Srila Prabhupada says they would go house to beg. Not because they are beggars, but they would go house to beg because they wanted to exhibit humility. They wanted to experience humility. They wanted to practice humility. And second is to give opportunity to a householder to interact with them, to ask questions to them. And they also get opportunity to share message to the householders. So Srila Prabhupada is saying Jnana Yoga Vyavasthita means cultivating knowledge, that means having knowledge, and then sharing with others. So cultivating knowledge means you should know the process of cultivation of knowledge, that is the process of hearing, which Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan says, and the process of not having pride in the heart, which Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, that if you have pride in our heart, then we cannot have knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada is adding more for a sannyasi that uh, uh, apart from having cultivation of knowledge, you should go out and distribute also to others. So that is a Gyan Yoga Vyavasthita. So these three qualities, they were especially more relevant for sannyasi. Especially sannyasi should cultivate these three qualities. Now the next three, that is fourth, fifth, and sixth. These are the characteristics of a grasta. These qualities, they relate more to a grasta. Especially someone who is in a grasta ashram, you should see that I cultivate especially these three qualities. In general, one should cultivate all 26, but especially someone who is in a grasta ashram, being in a grasta ashram, he has to see that at least first he should cultivate these three qualities. So the fourth one is dhanam. So Srila Ramanujacharya, he says dhanam, philanthropy, giving away one's wealth earned through right means to the deserving person. That is Srila Ramanujacharya says that giving one's wealth, which is earned by right means, to a deserving person. And Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan, he says that the householder, they offers food and other items owned by them, earned by proper methods, to a qualified person. That is dhanam. Now we'll see what Srila Prabhupada talks about this quality of dharma. So one difference you will find when other acharyas are defining or explaining these qualities, they are just word to word defining those qualities. But Srila Prabhupada purports are more application oriented. Srila Prabhupada is saying Jnana Yoga Vyavastita, cultivation of knowledge. Prabhupada is adding that a sannyasi should go out and distribute this message to others also. So same way now in case of Dhanam, Srila Prabhupada says, next item is charity. Charity is meant for householders. The householder should earn a livelihood by a honorable means. See, one thing is all acharyas are stressing on this point that it should be earned by a proper means. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, when he met Keshav Prabhu, so he told him, he's a grasta and a businessman. So Maharaj told him, you should earn with integrity and spend with compassion. So this is a very special line for grastas, that earn with integrity and spend with compassion. So same way we see all acharyas are saying that a householder should earn his livelihood by a honorable means. One should not take to any cheating means or any means which are contrary to the scriptures. And then Srila Prabhupada, as usual, everywhere he says that one should spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thus, a householder should give in charity to the institutional societies that are engaged in that way. So, one of the main dharma of a grasta is to give charity, because among these four orders, only one is allowed to earn money, that is grasta. The brahmachari, then vanaprastha, then sannyas. These three they don't earn. Only grastas they earn. So that is why all the load of other three ashrams are given to the grastas. That you have to maintain them and you have to give charity to all of them. And Srila Prabhupada says that they should give at least 50% charity. Radhesham Prabhu says one way to practice this is that one can give 25% charity and remaining 25% he can keep in another account, that is Krishna's account. And that 25% he can use for devotional things. Like he can have a house program where he calls people and then he is giving prasadam to those people. And he can have deities, he can offer bhoga, he can bring dresses for the deities. He can go for yatra with his wife and children and family. So all these expenses, Krishna conscious expenses, he can do from that remaining 25%, which is in Krishna's account. And whatever is left end of the year, that again he can give to the temple. So in that way, he can practice this quality of spending 50%. Many times when we hear this, it is very difficult to fathom that how someone can give this much. But there are devotees who are doing this and they have a realization that Krishna takes care. And just imagine if somebody is giving this amount of money for the service of the Lord, then naturally how much his mind and consciousness will be absorbed in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not possible also. So this is mentioned here. So one is honorable means, and second is the deserving candidate. So charity should be given to a person who is not of good character. And then Prabhupada is saying that charity is done in three modes. And the charity given for propagation of Krishna consciousness is a charity in the mode of goodness. So this is one of the main dharma of being a grasta. See, among these qualities also, the qualities are mentioned in priority. Like for a sannyasi, to be a sannyasi, the first and foremost quality is abhayam. When he is abhayam, then only he can take to the renounced order of. Same way, the foremost quality or dharma for a grastha is charity. And acharyas, they say, charity is not just an activity, it is a mentality. So charity does not mean just giving something. It is a mentality of giving. Like you might have heard that pastime where Gaurang Guru shares that there was one beggar who went to a householder and then they were very miserly. So the lady was not ready to give anything. Finally, she gave some ash. Take this. So the beggar became very happy. And the lady said, "Arey, I just gave you ash. Why you are happy?" So beggar said, "Arey, today you are giving ash. Tomorrow you will give cash." Because now mentality is being created. So this mentality of giving and helping others is very important. So that is why giving and regularity in giving both are very important for a grahastha. That I am giving and I am regularly giving so that this mentality is created that I give. And this is a way for a grahastha to serve also because maximum energy he is giving in earning and then the part of that earning he is giving in the service of the Lord. So in that way, this is a way for a grahastha to serve. Then, so now the three qualities, these are related to grahasthas. So Danam, then Damaha, and then Yajna. So Danam is charity. Then the next quality for a grahastha is Dama. Dama means sense control or controlling the mind. So Srila Ramanujacharya, he says self-control, the practice of withdrawing the mind from sense objects. And Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, he says he controls the external senses according to the rules, Damaha. So Damaha quality also is mentioned for a grahastha. Why? See, in one way it should be mentioned for a brahmachari or for other orders. But why for grahastha? Actually, as per Vedic setting, only grahastha is surrounded with sense objects. And that is why, more than anyone, he needs sense control. And that's why Sri Baldev Bhushan is saying he controls the external senses according to the rules. As per the rules of ashrama, he's supposed to control his senses. And that's why he needs this quality of Damaha. Now, Prabhupada again, he will bring down more to the practical application. So, Prabhupada is saying, Dhamma is not only meant for other orders, but especially for householders. Although he is a wife, but he should not use his senses for sex life unnecessarily. There are restrictions for householders even in sex life. This should only be engaged in for the propagation of children. If he does not require children, he should not enjoy sex life with his wife. Modern society enjoys sex life with contraceptive method or more available method to avoid the responsibility of children. This is not in the transcendental quality, but is demonic. If anyone, even if he is a householder, wants to make progress in his spiritual life, he must control his sex life and should not beget a child without the purpose of serving Krishna. If he is able to beget children who will be Krishna conscious, one can produce hundreds of children. But without this capacity, one should not indulge only for sense pleasure. So again, here Srila Prabhupada is bringing this quality of self-control, especially for Grahastha in relation to sex life. Srila Prabhupada is saying just because somebody has a wife does not mean that he can have free sex. If he wants spiritual advancement, then as per the rules of ashrama, he has to have a self-control in relation to sex indulgence also. And then the last quality for a grahastha is yajna. So yajna means sacrifice. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, he says, he engages in the performance of prescribed sacrifices yajna. And Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, yajna means worship of the Lord. So in the Vedic time, yajnas, they were also more related to grahasthas. Why? Because yajnas, they need a lot of money. If you want to do any yajna, a lot of money is required. So that is only grahasthas could do those yajnas. And what was the purpose of those yajnas? To please Lord Vishnu, to connect to Lord Vishnu. So that is why yajnas, they are supposed to be performed by the householders. But then Srila Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga, it is not possible to perform such elaborate yajnas. But there is only one yajna which can be performed, that is Sankirtan yajna. So householder, they should take out time to come together and to chant this Kirtana Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We see how in case of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, when he would go home in the evening after his job, then along with his family, they would do Bhajan Sandhya. Same way, a Grasta should take out time where, along with his family, he is doing this Sankirtan Yajna. So these three are dharma for Grasta. That is Dana, Damah, then Yajna. Now, for Brahmachari, only one quality is mentioned. That is the seventh one. This is Swadhyaya. So Swadhyaya, Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, means studying or reciting the Vedas. And Srila Ramanujacharya says, study of the Vedas, regular study of the Vedas, with the conviction that all the teachings of the Vedas deal with the Lord, with his glories and with the mode of worshipping him. And same Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says, he is fixed in studying the Vedas, which are sounds not created by man, which bring realization of the Lord endowed with energies. This is the one quality of the Brahmachari. Now, again, Srila Prabhupada, he will talk about this quality of Swadhyaya. So, Srila Prabhupada is saying, as I was saying, that Srila Prabhupada purports are more application oriented. No. A brahmachari should not have connection with women, should live a life of celibacy, and should engage mind in the study of the Vedic literature for cultivation of spiritual knowledge. This is called Swadhyaya. So for a brahmachari to study the Vedas regularly is very important because he has to deal with material energy, he has to restrain himself from material energy. So if he is regularly in touch with the sound vibration, then he can remain there. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj would say, when someone is regularly studying, then the knowledge remains in the front. But if one is not regularly studying, then the knowledge goes in the back. Srila Jiva Goswami says that for a devotee, intellectual plane is a spiritual plane. For a sadhaka, when he is on an intellectual plane, in the sense his intelligence is very strong, which is nourished by the study of the Vedas, then he will not be swayed by the dictates of the mind. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So that is why for a brahmachari to study the Vedas is very important. When Prakashan Saraswati, he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is mad in the sense he is just chanting, dancing. So then Prakashan Saraswati told to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Are, you are a young person and in such a young age you have taken a sannyas. You should study Vedas, otherwise you will fall down. So obviously he was not knowing that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord himself. But what he was saying is true. Somebody who is trying to be in a renounced order, but he is not studying the Vedas, then he will fall down. That's why it is mentioned, Swadhyaya. So this one is quality for a brahmachari, Swadhyaya. Now the next one is the quality for a vanaprastha. Only one, that is tapaha, austerity. So there are three types of austerities which are mentioned in the 18th chapter, the austerity of body, mind, and speech. So especially a vanaprastha is supposed to do these austerities. So if you read seventh canto, when Nagmuni is talking about four social orders, so there also he talks about first brahmachari, and then after talking about brahmachari, he talks about vanaprastha. So there also he says the vanaprastha should do lot of austerities. And why? He says, because being a grasta, he was engaged so much with sense objects. So now to purify his mind of those sense objects, he should do this austerity. Now, Srila Prabhupada is saying this austerity is specially meant for retired life. And Prabhupada is saying one should not remain a householder throughout his whole life. So actually, in our Vedic life, we see dying with relatives around is not considered auspicious death. So in our Vedic life, we see a person would take to Vanaprastha, then he would go to forest, he would go to Char Dham, and he would try to perform austerity, purify his mind of samskaras of sense gratification, and then absorb himself in the spiritual life. Obviously, in today day and age, it's very difficult to take one prastha go to forest because there are hardly any forest and it is not practical. But then Srila Prabhupada advised that especially after doing one's duties and responsibilities, person he should take to Vanaprastha in a way that he should give more time to serve Krishna. In many of our ISKCON temples, you will find there are some devotees who there in the later part of their years, they give more time to serving Krishna. They will come to temple, they will worship the Lord. They will come to temple, they will render some service in the temple. And then they will go back to home. So in that way, we can try to do. In one purport, Srila Prabhupada says the Grasta should give last 20 years of his life in full service to Krishna. So at least last 20 years. So suppose if you think you will survive till 70, then 50 to 70. Or if you think you will survive till 80, then 60 to 80. So in that way, we can live this principle of one personal life, where we are giving more time to serve Krishna. So this is tapasya. Uh, Without tapasya or austerity, no human being can get liberation. Why? Because we are in a diseased condition. So naturally, being in a diseased condition, the purification is not easy. So the purification will need some tapasya, voluntarily inconvenience for higher gain. So we are supposed to follow certain rules, like being in a hospital when we are diseased. Doctor tells us you can eat this, you cannot eat this. We follow it. Although we may like something, but then we don't eat. Although we may not like something, but doctor says we eat, isn't it? So that's why a person should be ready for some austerity, some tapasya for higher gain, knowing well that we being in a diseased condition, we need this tapasya for our purification. So this is for vanaprastha. Then, so see now, sannyasi is done. Then after sannyasi, he spoke about virastha, then brahmachari, then vanaprastha. So four spiritual orders are done. Now the further qualities, the remaining qualities, they will relate to the four varnas. So now the next 12 qualities, they relate more to a Brahman. So ninth one is Arjavam. Arjavam means simplicity. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, he said Arjavam means straightforward. So one of the simple definition of simplicity is no duplicity. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur would say, Saralta is the first quality of being a Vaishnava. Simplicity is the first quality of being a devotee of the Lord. So simplicity means not having ulterior motives. Simplicity means not having ulterior attitudes. Being very straightforward, being very simple, being very transparent in and out. That is simplicity. So let's see what. Same thing Srila Prabhupada also says about this quality of simplicity. So simplicity, Prabhupada says, one should be simple and straightforward. So now other qualities, Srila Prabhupada will speak in a very brief way. The next quality is ahimsa for a Brahmin. Ahimsa means non-violence. So Acharyas also and Srila Prabhupada also, they say ahimsa means not to stop the progress of any living entity. So suppose if somebody is killing an animal, then he checking his progress because he could not live enough in that particular body. Now he has to come back again in the same body, which otherwise he would have taken another higher body. So we are checking his progress by killing him. So that one should not do. That comes as ahimsa. And Srila Ramanujacharya says, non-injury, abstaining from causing pain to other beings. That is ahimsa. And Srila Prabhupada again he says, ahimsa means not arresting the progressive life of any living entity. So real ahimsa means not checking anyone's progressive life. Then Satyam. Satyam means truthfulness. So truthfulness means whatever one knows for certain, that he conveys to others. That is truthfulness. If we don't know, then we say we don't know. That is truthfulness. But we know, we speak, we don't hide. That is truthfulness. Then akrodha. Akrodha means freedom from anger. So Srila Baldev Bhushan he says, akrodha is the control of anger which appears when an evil person criticizes oneself. So when someone is criticizing us, then we may become angry. But Brahmana should be akrodha. Or Srila Ramanujacharya says, freedom from anger. The absence of mental agitation which could lead to the injury of others. Actually, Brahmana is known for these qualities of Shama, Dama, Tapaha, Akrodha, like that. So he does not become angry when some people are trying to criticize or some people are trying to cause pain to him. You might have heard that story that one scorpion, a Brahmana was trying to take him out, but the moment he would come out, he would bite it, and again he would leave it because of the pain. But again he would try. And then somebody asked that, "Arey, why you are doing this again and again?" So Brahmana said, if he is not giving his dharma of biting, why I should give dharma of protecting you? And there are many stories like this, where how a Brahmana does not become angry by the insulting words spoken by others. Then Tyaga. So Tyaga means renunciation. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says Tyaga means to give up possessiveness of wife, children, and other things. Srila Ramanujacharya says, very beautiful definition. He says, to give up everything which is contrary to the good for the self. To give up everything which may obstruct our spiritual life. That is Tyaga. And Srila Baldev Bhushan says, Tyaga means not saying bad words when others they insult us. Like this. We see this practically in life of Srila Prabhupada. He tried his best to have his family in the service of his spiritual master. But then he thought they are not helping me, no problem. I will try to serve my guru and I'll try to take care of my family also. But when his wife sold the manuscript written by Srila Prabhupada on Bhagavad Gita, then Srila Prabhupada saw that now they are becoming obstacle in my service to my guru. So then Prabhupada asked his wife, you want me or tea? And she was not understanding the gravity what Srila Prabhupada was asking. And she just took a teacup and she started drinking. And Prabhupada just left. Same way we see Ramanujacharya, when he saw his wife treating Kachi Purna in such a way, he understood that this wife is, instead of supporting in my spiritual life, is becoming obstacle in my spiritual life. And then we see that how he sends her to her house and then he takes it with us. So renunciation means giving up everything which may become an obstacle in one's spiritual life. Silaji Goswami says, if our relatives are not devotees, then taking their association also is asatsang. So we have to know that anyone which is helping us to come closer to Krishna, and that is good. Otherwise, the devotee should be ready to renounce what is becoming obstacle in one's spiritual life. This is Tyaga. Then Santi. Santi means tranquility. Srila Prabhupada translates as tranquility. That means not affected by the dualities of this world, not affected by the man, apaman, sukha and dukha. And Srila Baldev Bhushan, he says, control of mind, that is tranquility, not becoming disturbed or agitated in the mind by the dualities of this world. Then apeshunam. So this is aversion to fault finding. Apeshunam means, Srila Baldev Bhushan says, not using bad words against another person in his absence. And Srila Ramanujacharya says, refraining from talk that may cause hurt to others. So, generally, when we gossip in the material world, that gossip more or less is related to criticizing someone or finding fault in someone. So a Brahmana, particularly, should see that I don't find fault with others because it hurts others and it creates a wrong attitude of seeing bad in others. See, one of the way to judge one's consciousness or one's advancement is how much he can see good in others. We see Duryodhan and Yudhishthir. Duryodhan could not find a single person who is better than him. And Yudhishthir Maharaj could not find a single person who is lesser than him. Why? Because of difference in the consciousness and both are seeing the same audience. So to the extent we are blessed to see good in others, to the extent we are able to see good in others, to that extent our consciousness is going upward. To the extent we see only bad and bad things around, to that extent our consciousness is very low. So Brahmana especially should cultivate this quality. Just briefly read what Srila Prabhupada has written. So Satyam, Srila Prabhupada says same thing, that one should not distort the truth for some personal interest. And Akroda means to check one's anger, even if there is a provoking situation, one should not become angry. And Apesuna means one should not find fault with others or correct them unnecessarily. So these things Srila Prabhupada is saying. Then Daya. Daya means mercy. Brahmana should have this. Daya means intolerance of the suffering of other living entities. We see that actually why Ashoka became Ashoka when he saw one Buddhist monk in the Kalinga war, when Ashoka had raised this war, and so many people were killed, so many people were injured. But Ashoka thought, let me just go and see what kind of scene is there. So when he went to see, he saw a Buddhist monk. He's going to every person is trying to help them. Somebody just about to die and he is saying water, water. The Buddhist monk is going and giving him some water and then he's leaving his body. Another person is going, is paining too much. Can you just move me other side? And then the Buddhist monk is helping. So seeing this, the heart of Ashoka melted that, Hare, I was just mad to kill all these people. And this Buddhist monk, although knows that all of them will die, still is trying his best to give them some help. So this is a quality of a Brahmana. He cannot see the pain of others. And these qualities are very dear to the Supreme Lord. Then Aloluptavam, that is freedom from greed. A Brahmana is not greedy. That's why Brahmana can live a simple life. If one is affected by greed, how he can live a simple life? The more we are infatuated with greed, then that much we'll work hard, that much we'll try to accumulate. Especially Grasta life means to compare with others and then trying to have more. That is how Grastas they live. उन्होंने अपनी मैरिज में इतना खर्च किया, हम अपने बेटे की मैरिज में इतना खर्च करें. उन्होंने ये गाड़ी खरीदा, हम ये गाड़ी खरीदें. Then what happens? They make their life more complex. But Brahmana means he is free from greed. Whatever is minimum required to keep body soul together is. And Srila Ramanujacharya, he says, Aloloptavam means freedom from craving for sense gratification. And 18th is Mardavam, that is gentleness. Gentleness means intolerance of separation from association of saintly person. This is Baldev Vidyabhushan, he says that a Brahmana always hankers to associate with saintly people and he cannot remain without association of saintly people. And Srila Ramanujacharya, he says gentleness means absence of harshness. So being worthy of associating with good people. Baldev Bhushan says gentleness means he want association of good people. He can't live without such association. And Ramanujacharya says he is having a gentle behavior because of which he is worthy of associating with good people. Good people will give association to such a person because he is very gentle. Then Hirir, that is modesty. So Hiri means basefulness to do unlawful acts. Or Hri means modesty, means feeling shame in doing what should not be done. So Srila Prabhupada also translates same, that it means modesty. That means a person feels shame. How I can do this? It is not as per the scriptures. Then achapalam, that is 20, that is determination. So Srila Ramanujacharya, he says, freedom from whimsicality, achapalam, being, being unmoved by enjoyable objects even when they are at hand. So Brahmana is very fixed. He is not chapalam, he is achapalam. He is having a determination to not get swayed by the sense gratification. So these are the 12 characteristics of Brahmana. Then next three are characteristics of Kshatriya. Teja means vigor. So vigor means Kshatriya does not step back when it comes to protect somebody. That is vigor, having a vigor to go to protect others. Then Shama means forgiveness. It is not that just because he wants to show his prowess. If some person is ready to accept him, then he forgives him. He has that quality of forgiveness also. Then Dhriti means fortitude. So Srila Ramanujacharya gives a very nice definition of fortitude. He says, determination to do right thing even under condition of great danger. So fortitude means a Kshatriya is ready to go any extreme to do what is right, is ready to take any amount of risk to do what is right. That is fortitude. And next two are the qualities of Vaishya, Socham, that is cleanness. And Prabhupada says cleanness in everything, cleanness inside also, outside also, and in dealings also. And Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, he says, cleanness means Vaishya should not be untruthful or deceit or having a bad quality. Because Vaishya, they have to deal with so many people, money, and things. So he should be free from these negative things. Then Adroha, especially a Vaishya, should be free from envy. Because if he is captured by envy, then because he is dealing with money, then he will become so much absorbed in money and making money. And Srila Ramanujacharya gives a very nice definition. He says, Adroha means avoidance of interfering in the freely chosen activities of others. He should not interfere in the activities of others. And the last quality is the quality of Sudra, that is Nati Manitaha, not expecting honor. A Sudra should be ready to serve, should be ready to give respect to other classes. So he should have this quality of Naati Manitaha, not expecting honor. And Srila Ramanujacharya says humility, that is freedom from misplaced pride. So these are the 26 qualities which Krishna is saying are the qualities of people who have divine nature. And Krishna describes these qualities especially related to four social orders and four spiritual orders. Hare Krishna. So we will end now here and then tomorrow we will continue. So those who want to go, they can leave. And those who have some questions to ask, they can ask. Yes, Sandeep.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Oh, it is echoing. I think some other devotee also in your room is using this.
Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhuji, आप रूम में चले जाना भाई आपने बताया कि
आप वो चैट पे लिख दो, आपका बहुत एक ओवर है। You can write in the chat. Okay, any other devotee has any question?
हाँ, हरे कृष्ण। तो जी आपने
हाँ
बताया कि अगर अगर किसी एनिमल को कोई मारता है तो उसका लाइक प्रोग्रेस रोक देता है, तो उसको दोबारा वही कंप्लीट करने के लिए उसका एज जो भी है तो उसको दोबारा बर्थ लेना पड़ेगा। तो जी अगर कोई कोई ह्यूमन को मारता है तो वो जो नेक्स्ट लाइफ उसका जो होगा वो अकॉर्डिंग टू हिज कर्मा होगा, या फिर उसका वो भी ह्यूमन फॉर्म में ही उसका बर्थ होगा।
कि जो एनिमल्स और ह्यूमंस के रूल्स थोड़े से अलग है। एनिमल्स में नो मैटर व्हाट दे डू, दे डोंट अर्न एनी कर्मा। Animals, the moment they die, they will get another higher birth, provided they are not killed in between by someone. But when it comes to humans, in case of humans, depending upon their desire, depending upon their karma, they will take next birth. It is not that he'll become a human only. In case of human, everything will happen as per their desire and karma.
ओके।
Okay, so thank you very much, all devotees, taking out time and coming.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी एक क्वेश्चन था।
हाँ हाँ।
प्रभु जी एक परपट में हम पढ़ रहे थे कि जो ये लाइक एनिमल स्लॉटर करते हैं जो लोग, वो लोग तो नेक्स्ट लाइफ में वो एनिमल जो होता है ही गेट्स अ सुटेबल बॉडी टू किल द वन हु किल्ड हिम। तो वो एक्चुअल में वो सेम लाइफ पाएगा या फिर वो कोई दूसरा ऐसा लाइफ पाएगा जो उस जिसमें उसको सुटेबल बॉडी मिलेगी कि वो वापस से इस जो जिसने स्लॉटर किया उसको किल कर पाए, या फिर वो इमीडिएटली नेक्स्ट लाइफ में होता है या फिर वो मल्टीपल लाइफ्स के बाद में भी हो सकता है ऐसा?
ऐसा नहीं है कि वही एनिमल जो है बाद में ह्यूमन बनेगा और फिर वो जो है उसको मारेगा। What happens is, as per karma, the person who is killing, he is supposed to be killed, and then some other person will be arranged who wants to kill. But it is not that the same animal will play the role of killing him. Understood, Prabhu?
हाँ यस प्रभु जी। हाँ।
हाँ। वो क्या, देखिए, वो एक स्टोरी है जो गाय वाला, जिसमें वो बुचर पीछे जाता है, ब्राह्मण बता देता है। उस स्टोरी में सेम होता है, क्योंकि गाय का नेक्स्ट रूप तो ह्यूमन ही है, तो गाय
हम्म।
ह्यूमन बनती है। बट इन जनरल ऐसा नहीं है। कर्म का सिद्धांत क्या है, मुझे दुख मिलना है। अब किसके माध्यम से दुख आएगा वो सेकेंडरी है, वो लॉर्ड के ऊपर है।
जो जो दुख मैंने कॉज किया उसके इक्विवेलेंट दुख मुझे मिलना है, वो कर्म का।
हाँ, या बट इट्स नॉट दैट द सेम इंस्ट्रूमेंट विल गिव यू द मिजरी और द पेन।
ओके।
Okay, so thank you very much, all devotees, for taking the time and coming. Hare Krishna, Krishna Prabhupada ki jai.